The feedback I've gotten on this has been completely positive, but also sad. I mean, no one wants to talk bad about their own experience and their own profession, but at some point we have to overcome that discomfort on a personal level and think about the future of other students, the future of patients, the reputation of the profession, and we have to call it out and say, this is bullshit. You're ripping off these students. You're endangering the patients who are going to see those student graduates, and you're making the whole profession look like a bunch of fucking jackasses by behaving like jackasses. So, yeah, I'm going to publish this, and people can like it or not like it. I don't care.
I am, and I think I'm fortunate to have grown up Generation X, too. We got any Gen Xers in here? Yeah, I don't even care. That's how Gen X I am. That's a calling card of our generation, right? It's not even dismissive to a Gen Xer. It's like, I don't care. I don't care also. Nice to meet you. What generation are you? It doesn't matter. I don't care. That's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing. If y'all don't like this joke, guess what? Yeah. You're only going to give me more cred as a Gen Xer. You'll only make me more powerful.
The administration does not care about quality control. They consistently undermine the efforts of the basic science professors and clinical faculty. It is dangerous and irresponsible on the part of the administration of the schools. You will find that the administrations of chiropractic colleges are hell-bent on destroying their own profession in exchange for short-term monetary gains.
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Vasquez here. Sorry I've been absent for the last about 15 or 16 days because I had really bad bronchitis. And so if I sound a little wheezy and bitchy, it's because I'm still a little wheezy and bitchy. Today, the agenda is I'm going to proofread the essay that I wrote this past week. I did this whole thing spontaneously. I'd say about 90% of it was done in one sitting. And then, of course, I made a few edits and modifications, and then went back and looked at some old documents and administrative emails to pull some direct quotes and make sure, well, I already knew the facts were correct, but I did pull some direct quotes from the president's email, president of the university, that is, just to make sure it was completely accurate. So I've published this now on my blogs, which are inflammationmastery.substack.com and healthythinking.substack.com. I just published this yesterday. I've also posted it to academia.com. I'll show you the link. You can download this essay for free. I presume that right now is going to be the ultimate proofreading of this. I've read it. I wrote it, obviously I wrote it, and then I maybe proofread it once or twice. And I sent it out to a lot of professional friends, the few professional friends that I have. Two of whom were previously presidents of universities. And I sent it out to a lot of my chiropractic colleagues. And the feedback on this article has been uniformly positive. No one has written to me saying, oh, well, I had a wonderful experience as a professor in chiropractic college. No one says that. They've all said, and I didn't even really ask for any, testimonies or anything like that, testimonials. But everyone has written back to me spontaneously saying, yes, the same thing happened to me. In all the colleges, not just like one college. Colleges throughout the United States where people were either students or faculty or both, they've all said, me too. So this article, as you can tell, as you will be able to tell, is written purely from my experience. I was aware of a few articles that had been published in the Chronicle of Higher Education back in 2012. And I cited those articles within this article, and I'll read those excerpts, of course. But 95% of this essay is purely from my experience, and then a few citations here and there just to other articles that were important. Those articles, as I'll mention as I go through this, those articles that were published in the Chronicle of Higher Education, those 3 articles that were published in 2012 were specific to a college that I have never attended and I don't have any affiliation with. But they serve as representative examples of the chaos and administrative misbehavior within chiropractic colleges. And they're excellent examples. But they're not unique examples. They are representative of what hundreds of us have experienced throughout the field of chiropractic academia. So without further ado, I'm going to read this article as it currently stands on May 5th, 2024. As I've already said, I plan for this right now to be the ultimate proofreading, the final proofreading, and I'll make a few notes as I go through if I need to change anything. I'll try not to interrupt myself too much. I'll just try to commit to reading this, minimizing the embellishments, because I think it's already sufficient. But of course, I'll probably interrupt myself a few times, make a few notes. Like if I catch any errors, of course, I'll have to indicate that on the master document that I'm looking at. Again, I'll provide this for free. It's already posted on my blogs. I've posted it to academia. You'll have the link for that, so you can download the PDF with the graphic. So I'm going to read the text, of course, but I'm not going to read the graphic because the graphic itself is super complex. I originally designed that graphic in 2018, so it's literally been sitting in my computer for 6 years. And then, as I'm currently working on a new textbook, I decided to include mention of academic corruption within that textbook, even though the textbook itself is on neuroinflammation and and migraine. I decided to include this graphic on academic corruption, which I call the academic corruption map. I was going to include the diagram, and then of course I made some changes, and then it was on my mind, and then one night I just wrote out this essay pretty much as it currently stands. So again, here we go. The current title of this document, which is going to be published as an ebook later today on Amazon's platform if you want to read it through that medium. The current title, which is probably the final title, is called Administrative Anarchy in American Academia: Corruption and Chaos in Chiropractic, Clinical Nutrition, Functional and Naturopathic Medicine, and more. So, as usual, well, not all the time, but I do enjoy quoting Friedrich Nietzsche. You can see this picture of Friedrich Nietzsche behind me. That was a custom painting made for my most recent birthday. I totally love it. Nietzsche wrote, when would this have been? Obviously more than 100 years ago, 150 years ago. How much truth can a spirit endure? How much truth can a spirit dare? More and more, intellectual integrity became for me the real measure of value. Error, which is faith in the ideal, is not blindness. Error is cowardice. To endure my seriousness and my passion, the scholar must carry intellectual integrity to the verge of hardness. We must become indifferent. We must never ask if the truth is useful or if it will be our undoing. At every step and with every word, one has to wrestle for truth. One has had to surrender to it almost everything to which the heart, to which our love, our trust in life, cling otherwise. That requires greatness of soul. The service of truth is the hardest service. So even though that flows together quite well, those are actually excerpts from different books written by Friedrich Nietzsche. Following that quote is the diagram, which again I'm not going to read, but it shows all the interconnections. What I found working in chiropractic academia is that we didn't have simply one corrupt administrator. We had an entire ecosystem of corruption. And that's what's demonstrated in the diagram. Again, I encourage you to take a look at it and download it. If you really want to understand the complexity of academic corruption, I think I've provided a unique and accurate illustration of that. First paragraph. Chiropractic and nutrition were my first loves. More accurately, I would say that my positivistic and misinterpretation of chiropractic, my naive perceptions as an inexperienced youth fresh out of military boarding school, and what I considered to be the promise of the profession, those were my first loves. Instead, what I found in 2 of the 3 chiropractic universities where I was faculty, and in 1 Doctor of Clinical Nutrition program where I was a founding professor, was not simply 1 or 2 colluding administrators, but rather an entire ecosystem of corruption that emanated from the entire upper administration, from the president of the university to the vice president of finance, contaminating everything from the financial accounting to the integrity of exams, contaminating everything from the financial accounting to the integrity of exams and accreditation standards, but also the Board of Trustees, which supposedly had responsibility for the supervision of the administration, and also the selection of the president himself. I found that accreditation was a completely worthless stamp of approval provided by privatized regional accreditors who were paid by the very schools they accredited for the programs that were approved, regardless of the veracity of the submitted documents and the integrity or lack thereof of the program, including completely changing program requirements after the program and changes had been approved, and the administration's implementation and allowance of a corrupted online examination platform that allowed students to pass quizzes and examinations without any study, simply by clicking on the provided answers until the correct answer was made obvious. The students cared more about academic integrity than did the administrators. The regional accreditor apparently couldn't care less as long as the school was paying for the accreditation processes and making things look pretty, and the U.S. Department of Education obviously had no fucks to give and could not be bothered. The infographic accompanying this narrative depicts my painful personal and professional experience in chiropractic academia. Again, chiropractic was certainly my first love, and I dedicated many years of my life to being an ambassador, scholar, and cheerleader for the profession. I traveled thousands of miles to deliver hundreds of hours of graduate and postgraduate education. I authored dozens of articles for the profession and several textbooks specifically for chiropractic students and clinicians. One of the biggest disappointments of my life will forever be witnessing and experiencing the shameless and unbridled corruption within the administration of chiropractic colleges, many of which have now rebranded themselves as universities despite not meeting strict criteria for such. To have a corrupt administration, one must begin with corrupt administrators, which is to say people with ulterior motives and/or sociopathy or psychopathy. Psychopathic and narcissistic traits are common in the general population, typically estimated at 1% being severe, with 10 to 30% being mild. And these traits are higher in certain groups, namely incarcerated prisoners and organizational administrators.
You can download this book from Amazon.com for $1. Or you can download the book and video for free along with all updates from healthythinking.substack.com, where you can also learn about vitamin D, dysbiosis and the human microbiome, the antiviral nutrition protocol, functional medicine and more. I'll see you there at healthythinking.substack.com.